In this video we're going to be looking at playing with side off cushions. In a previous video about potting with side, I advised not to use side unless absolutely necessary, particularly if you're a beginner. However, when playing off a cushion to get out of a snooker, side can be very useful and might be your only option. If you find yourself in a situation like this, where the shot to the yellow is blocked, and the plain ball routes off the cushions are also blocked by other balls, then we can use side to help us out. We can use right hand side, or right hand English as it's sometimes called, or left hand side by striking the cue ball over to the side. Depending on the angle we are coming into the cushion at, these can also be called running side and check side. Running side is when we strike the cue ball on the same side as the angle into the cushion. The effect of running side is to widen the natural angle of the cue ball as it comes off the cushion. Check side is when we strike the cue ball on the opposite side to the angle into the cushion. The effect of check side is to narrow or even reverse the angle as it comes off the cushion. If we look at the natural angle of the white, if we play up past this side of the red, we can see that the angle is too narrow and we'll miss the yellow. To widen the angle, we need to play with running side, so in this case, left hand side. As the cue ball hits the cushion, the side spins the cue ball out at a wider angle, allowing us to pot the yellow. If we play up on this side of the red, then the natural angle is too wide and we'll end up hitting the side cushion. If we play this way, we'd need to play with check side, which in this case is right hand side. When the cue ball hits the cushion with check side, the angle is narrowed and it straightens up, allowing us to pot the ball. So how much side can we put on the cue ball and how will it affect the angle? I usually advise when using any sort of spin to stay within the safe zone. If you imagine a ring about a Q-tip's width around the edge of the ball, then striking within that should avoid any miscues. If we play straight up the centre of the table and strike the cue ball about half a Q-tip's width to the right, we end up about halfway along the bottom cushion. If we play about a full Q-tip's width across, we end up in the corner pocket. The maximum side that I can achieve brings the cue ball close to the middle pocket. However, this involves striking the ball outside the safe zone, and as you can probably hear from the contact, it's dangerously close to a miscue, so I wouldn't recommend it. The other thing to consider when working out how much side to use is the angle at which we hit the cushion. Side spin is at its most effective when the cue ball comes straight into the cushion. Played plain ball, the ball goes straight in and straight out. Played with left hand side over to the edge of the safe zone, we increase the angle by about 15 degrees. If we come into the cushion at a narrow angle, then with plain ball we come out at roughly the same angle as we went in. If we play with the same amount of side spin as before, then we still achieve an increase in angle of about 15 degrees, maybe a fraction less. Once we get round to a steeper angle of around 45 degrees, then the side spin starts to have a little less effect. The spin still widens the angle, but this time we're only increasing it by about 5 degrees. Once we get round to a very wide angle, where we're merely glancing the cushion, the side spin has almost no effect at all. This is because the cue ball is already heading in that direction, so the spin makes no difference. However, when we do come into a cushion at a very steep angle, then it's quite likely that the cue ball will strike a second cushion at a shallower angle. This is the path of the cue ball when played plain ball into the first cushion at a steep angle and then off a second cushion. When played with running side, the angle might not change off the first cushion, but the cue ball still retains its spin and it affects the bounce off the second cushion, widening the angle. The same is true when played with check side. The ball still comes off the cushion at the same angle and strikes the second cushion in the same place, but then the spin checks the ball back across to the other side of the table. As with all things in pool, there are lots of things that will affect the amount of side spin. The speed of the cloth, the rubber in the cushions, your cueing action, and how much spin you can safely impart on the ball. Practice using side off cushions. Get a feel for how much side is needed to create certain angles, and hopefully with lots of practice you'll be escaping from even the tightest of snookers. If you want to see more practice routines and pool tutorials, then please remember to subscribe. And if you're interested in any of the equipment I use in this video, then there are links in the description below.